listening to Inside the Nest with Isaac Donsky. Welcome to Inside the Nest, the first official podcast for CCBC Catonsville. My name is Isaac Donsky. I'm the play-by-play announcer of the Cardinals, and I am so excited to finally bring this project to you listening at home. We've been working hard all summer and fall to get this podcast set up for the fans, and now that we finally have some audio recorded, it feels wonderful. Inside the Nest will bring you monthly updates about the goings-on at CCBC Catonsville. We'll discuss games, standings, stats, and even have players and coaches on the show to give their opinions. We'll also discuss events happening on campus relating to our athletic department and may feature interviews with some of our staff. With that being said, for today's very first episode, we'll be recapping the events that happened over the summer, our men's soccer season, and our men's cross-country season. We'll also be taking a look at the start of the basketball season with look-ins at both the men's and women's campaigns. All of that is coming up right after this commercial break.
Do you think I'd be a good nurse?
We'd be a great nurse. But at CCBC, there's also dental hygiene, medical imaging, surgical tech.
Do you have all these memorized?
No, you're reading them. And I'm you. So.
CCBC. See what you can be.
It was a busy summer here at CCBC Catonsville, and we here were hoping it would kind of be a bit calmer after the insane baseball season we had leading into the summer. CCBC Catonsville Cardinals baseball managed to make it to the Region 20 finals, coming up just short of winning the region as a whole, and head coach Dan Blue got his 500th career victory, the first coach in Catonsville history to achieve that mark. Shout out Coach Blue, what an accomplishment. Heading into the summer, we all thought it would be nice and relaxing, but then staff turnover started in a way that impacted us all. After 32 years of being in charge of CCBC Catonsville's athletics and the entire athletics department for all of the community college of Baltimore County, Brian Farrell, our beloved athletic director, has stepped away to enjoy a quiet life of retirement. Brian served as the head director of athletics for CCBC Catonsville from 1993 to 2003 until he was hired to be director of all college athletics for the campus in 2003. He served that role until 2022. Brian was inducted into the CCBC Hall of Fame in 2016. His accomplishments, well, let's see what we got here. He graduated Catonsville High School in 1983 and was the first college-wide director of athletics in 2003. Under Farrell's leadership, CCBC teams earned 8 NJCAA national championships, 56 NJCAA national tournament appearances, 58 NJCAA Region 20 titles, and 46 Maryland JUCO Conference crowns. That is an incredible stat, no matter how you look at it. Now, when I first joined CCBC Catonsville back in the summer of 2021 as an intern, I remember Brian would be present at every single game. Basketball games, he would be sitting in a chair overlooking the entire gymnasium. He would always be in the dugouts or in the bleachers talking to fans and coaches at our baseball and softball games, and he would always stick around afterwards to help clean up and tear down the equipment. He always had nothing but kind words to say to everybody, and he always told everyone what a good job they had done after every game. So, Brian, if you're listening in, congrats on your retirement. Congrats on an amazing career heading athletics here at CCBC. We wish you the best, and we miss you, buddy. Now, to replace Mr. Brian Farrell as the new head honcho here at CCBC Catonsville and for all of CCBC athletics, none other than Mrs. Melissa Miller was chosen. Miller joined the Cardinals in the fall of 2014 as the Assistant Director of Athletics. She previously served as the Supervisor of Athletic Operations at Prince George's Community College for 9 years and was also their head softball coach. She had previously competed at Prince George's Community College from 1997 to 1999 in 4 varsity sports. Under her leadership, CCBC Catonsville's athletic programs have seen multiple teams have success at the conference, regional, and national level. Multiple student athletes have been awarded for athletics and academic achievement, and she's also overseen the addition of a new turf field at the campus in the fall of 2018. Along with serving at a role at CCBC Catonsville, Mrs. Miller also served as the Maryland JUCO Secretary for 2 years and was named the first female elect president for the conference in 2018. Mrs. Miller also served as the Conference AD Liaison for Softball, Region 20 Softball Chair, and sits on several conference and regional committees. She was named MD JUCO Athletic Director of the Year in 2017, and there is nobody that I would trust more or think is more qualified to take up the job of heading CCBC Athletics than Mrs. Melissa Miller. When we come back, we'll take a look back at the fall sports season. It was a busy one. We've got soccer to talk about. We've got cross country to talk about. And remember to stick around towards the end of the show where we're going to take a live look in at our men's and women's basketball teams.
I need a better career. Yeah, seriously. But hey, I'm just your imagination. What would I do? Get out in the field. Do something in the trades. Maybe An electrician? No, let's work with our hands. The money's great as an auto tech. Why has nobody brought up teaching? We would be an amazing teacher. Except teachers don't dress like that.
With more than 280 programs and certifications, CCBC can help your most ambitious dreams take shape.
Welcome back to Inside the Nest with Isaac Donsky. Now that the fall season has wrapped up, we thought it would be best to start by recapping the events of our men's soccer season. Now, heading into this year, the Cardinals were expected to finish at the bottom of the conference. Now, why is that, you might be asking? Isn't CCBC Catonsville normally a good team in terms of their soccer program? Well, yes, but this year things were going to be different. There was a brand new head coach, a young team comprised almost entirely of freshmen, just one returning sophomore from last year's team. That means no expectations. The Cardinals struggled to a 2-14-1 record, but don't let that record deceive you. This Cardinals team fought tooth and nail all campaign long, and as somebody who called almost all of their home games, I can attest, this team was not as bad as that record says it was. First-year head coach Kingsley Onwuka came into the season knowing that it would be a rebuilding year, and his expectations for the Cardinals were to work game by game to slowly improve. But after the first 3 games of the season had seen the Cardinals give up 25 goals, Cardinals looked like they would be even worse than preseason predictions had made them out to be. But a stout defense had begun to develop, and the Cardinals spent the rest of the season annoying opponents by becoming almost impossible to put away. Catonsville's defense held some of the highest scoring teams in the state to an average of just 2 goals per game, with their aggressive style of play forcing opponents to play down to their competition. Freshman stars such as Paul Catafalmo, Caleb Acano, and James Anderson headed a line that intercepted passes, broke up potential scoring chances, and gave goalkeeper Austin Thomas much-needed support. Thanks to this defense, the Cardinals were able to score a 0-0 tie against Brookdale in appalling conditions to end an early losing streak, and they were appalling. As somebody who was in the booth that day, let me just tell you, I have seen it rain at games before, but I have never seen it rain so hard that neither team could score. That's how hard it was raining in that game. It was a wild contest. Now the question for the Cardinals was this: could they get their offense to start performing? And as the season progressed, each week saw improved chances and better teamwork. Forwards Mike Miranda and Alec Britton led the charge for the Cardinals, and as the games progressed, it became clear that this team had developed so much from the start of the season that every opponent they faced now took them seriously. In an away game against Northern Virginia late in the season, the long-awaited first win of the year came. The Cardinals scored a 2-1 victory thanks to James Anderson's header getting them on the board early. They finished the season with a dominant 4-1 blowout victory over Cecil College in a game that, and you're going to have to sit down for this one, was postponed 3 separate times. It was supposed to be the season opener, but because of bad weather, it got postponed to mid-September. Then a hurricane hit, so it had to be postponed again, and by this point the game had been switched from a home game to Catonsville to an away game at Cecil, but that didn't matter for the Cardinals. They still got the win. That 4-1 win over Cecil to finish off the season was, in my opinion, a preview of what we will see next year. Think about it. This Cardinals team had just 2 players graduate. The rest of the team are all freshmen. Most of them are expected to be back next year. That can mean only one thing: overall improvement and a better team ready to compete. They've had a full year to learn each other, to work together, learn the coach's system, and more importantly, develop chemistry, camaraderie, and teamwork that is going to make this team a force next season. And if they aren't a force, you can call it back to the first episode of Inside the Nest where I said they would be, and blame me. Now, soccer wasn't the only sport going on in the fall for the Cardinals. We also had our cross-country team, and they had a bit of an up-and-down start to the season. While the team performed well in their first few races, they had a difficult result at the UMES Farm Run, which taught the team a valuable lesson. The next 2 rounds saw improvement and new personal records being set, with an overall 4th-place finish coming at the Blue and Gold Invitational. Freshman Keenod Randolph would get the chance to compete for the Cardinals in the NJCAA Nationals down in Tallahassee, Florida, where he finished 68th out of 219 runners. That is pretty good in a field that big. We'll be back with a look at our winter sports after these messages.
Choosing a career is harder than I thought.
What's so hard about choosing to be a nurse? Saving lives.
Or protecting the world from cyber threats.
In sweats, tech is the future. Yeah, but business is everything, and everything is business.
That's deep.
Did we just think of that?
With more than 280 programs and certifications, CCBC can help your most ambitious dreams take shape.
Welcome back to the show. This winter, it's all about basketball, and CCBC Catonsville has started the year off right. Both the men's and the women's basketball teams are coming off back-to-back victories at the time of this recording, and the women's team is posting a 2-1 record. Now, the Lady Cardinals opened the season with a tightly contested loss to Harcum College that could have gone either way depending on who you ask. But in their next two games against Lackawanna and Middlesex, they blew them out, at one point holding Lackawanna to just 2 points in the first quarter. That's insane. Now, the team has had some games canceled down the stretch due to a couple of colleges not fielding programs this year, or in the case of a game against Allegheny that was supposed to take place the week before Thanksgiving, a certain old friend known as Miss Coronavirus showing up once again. But this team is expected to compete well, especially considering the fact that they only have one returning player from last year's team. Hasn't stopped them so far. As for the men, they started their season with 2 blowout losses. No sugarcoating it, it was rough. A third straight loss to Pitt Community College at the Dundalk Mixer had the season looking lost, but then sophomore Keith Bullock Jr. returned to the court and turned the team around. Averaging 12 points per game in just 3 starts, Bullock gave the Cardinals a massive boost as they defeated the Community College of Philadelphia to finish up the Mixer and get that first win of the year. Then, in the next home game against Middlesex, Bullock got a double-double, the Cardinals posted a 19-point victory, and they're 2-3 heading into the Thanksgiving break. With a difficult schedule on the horizon and plenty of teams looking to take the top spot in the hotly contested Region 20, the Cardinals will be sure to turn to Bullock and the other sophomore leaders to lead them to victory, and they've got plenty to choose from. You've got Maury Smith, a scoring machine, Austin Smith, who leads the team in blocks, and let's not forget Jalen Yates, a sharpshooter, one of the best three-pointers on the team. They've also got some aggressive youngsters looking to prove themselves, guys like Kurt Smith Jr., Caleb Gray, and Carlos Green, who have all shown a lot of potential in the first few games of the season. Well, that's going to wrap things up for this first episode of Inside the Nest. Once again, I want to just thank everyone who has supported us through the creation of this podcast, and we cannot wait to begin rolling out more episodes. For everyone here at CCBC Catonsville, this is Isaac Donsky signing off. Until next time, you've been listening to Inside the Nest.